Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, the elm forests are going to get a little makeover and we're going to do a little guy wiring on the Shimpaku Juniper. Earlier this year, I took my big tray of Siberian elms and I made a couple of forests, 3 to be exact, little mini forests. And they started really slow. And in talking with a lot of friends from Minnesota Bonsai Society, a lot of elms were acting a little funny this year. Slow to grow, some people lost their leaves and then they came back late. And mine look a little sparse in some areas. There's definitely one that worked. This one grew way more than the other ones. They all were late bloomers though. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to trim some of these up. You know, we're in that summertime where the growth is kind of, the first push is out there. It's hot. There's not a lot of growing going on right now. So we're going to just kind of trim things up a little bit. And then we'll get one final push out here the rest of August into September. We'll fertilize one more time in September. And we'll get some more growth before we put it away for the winter. So I got my forest scene here with some rocks. And I got a little bit of fertilizer still on there, and really just going to give this a little bit of a haircut. So as I take a peek, I think that is the front, and so we're going to go ahead and treat that as the front for right now, and we're going to see if we can trim some of this out a little bit here. I like this front tree. This branch is kind of in our way, but if I shorten it up a little bit here, shorten it up a little bit there, we'll see what happens. This growth is way too low. Get that one out of here. This growth back here in this back tree, we got some on the back and on the front. We'll take those two out of there. I'll remove my tea bags for right now so you can get a little more look on the forest. Okay, this branch right down here I don't need, a little bit low as well. This inside one we'll just cut so it grows back behind this branch with a little directional pruning right there. This guy's pretty low on the branch on the tree as well. We'll cut that one off. Cut him back to here. Back to here. Just give this thing a big old haircut up here. It just grew really tall and bizarre up top here. Only the second year of these Siberian elms. Last year I got them from my MBS friend Jeff, and then this year again I transplanted them in the spring. Now we just gave them a haircut. So there's forest number 1. We'll just let this stay in a place that's far away from those Japanese beetles and see what we get for growth. Whole bunch of new shoots, I hope. Oops. Went too fast on that one. There we go. Tree number 1. We've got forest number 2 out right now, and you can see all the back growth. There was some chewing going on with some critters on this one. Again, I moved it to a different bench. Now I've got all this back budding. You can see all this all the way down the tree. So we'll be able to pick and choose where this thing grows next year. But for this year, we're just going to give it a little bit of a cut down here. Got all kinds of back budding, so we're just going to shorten it all up and put it back on the bench. Got a nice lower branch down there. Clean up some of these lower ones that are really thick down here in some of these trees. Cleaning up some of these. And that's all we have to do with this one. So this one's been coming back real nicely. We just got it a little bit shorter here, and we'll let this thing continue to sprout out. Tree number 2. Here we have forest number 3. You know, that weed right there. Got a branch growing down by this rock. One even lower than the rock. We've got some low branches down here that are just too low for our design of these trees. A forest planting, thicker on top, not as much life on the bottom due to the sun not reaching this part of the forest floor and the first few feet of the forest floor. A lot of branches growing out of the same spot here. This big one's dying off. This one has seen some better days. This one right here, I'm just going to cut this big one off so it's a little bit shorter. And over here there's 5 shoots coming out of this guy right here. 5. There's some down lower. Some down lower. Some dead branches in here. Got some bug damage on this one too. The Japanese beetles were busy on this tree. And then we have forest number 3. Let's get them all back up on the table here and take a final peek. So there we have a quick little update and work session all in one. The update is these were repotted in spring of this year from a big tray to 3 forest plantings. This one got beat up the most by critters, and all of a sudden now it's getting leaves all over the place. These 2 were better off throughout the year, but we have a lot of damage on the trees from the Japanese beetles. They've been moved to new locations. We're going to put them back in those spots and hope that they have a nice little second push later on this summer and fall. We'll fertilize them one more time. These tea bags are coming to the end of their journey, and we'll get some more fertilizer on here. I might even do some more seaweed and fish emulsion on these guys as we wrap it up, getting ready for fall later on. It'll be here quicker than we know it. So there we go, the 3 Siberian elm forests. So 3 Siberian elm forests. So we'll put these on the bench and we'll come back and we're going to take a peek at trying to do a guy wire on the juniper. Part 2 of today's episode is going to be on this Shimpaku Juniper. Growing a little bit sporadically. I have no real leaves down here, any foliage developing, no back budding. We had lost a big part of this tree right here early on. This has been a kind of a fun curly branch here, stiff and rigid, but this is going off and getting all wild and crazy back over there. I'm wondering if I can bring this back down here slowly but surely. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to put a little guy wire. I'm going to wrap some wire around this branch, around some inner tubing, and pull it down and then try to get it closer in as well. So I'm going to set up kind of a chopstick situation here, where a chopstick or a piece of wood goes across the tray here, the training pot, and then I can tie the training pot onto the pot with wire, and then that'll be a sturdy connection for the wire to put the wire around and twist it around and bring this in ever so slightly over the course of the rest of this growing season. You know, an inch today, maybe an inch a month from now, and we'll slowly but surely get this thing around. We could even bring this guy around as well with wire if we wanted to, but we'll let that one go for now. So we're going to try to get this guy right here down a little bit lower for some positioning. I've got this old stake. This used to hold a soccer net into the ground, and I've just shaped it so when I put it around the training pot here, it just kind of hugs the side and it sits right here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of wire from here underneath and then get those together and tie them together in the back. So I have some extra wire of varying sizes. Looks like this is going to be good. So it's just to kind of hold it in place. So that did the job. So we got one twist on the bottom to tighten up the two cables holding down the little cable here. So there we have the odd contraption. And that's going to be holding down pretty good. We'll see if that'll work. And I can bring these pieces in a little bit so they don't want to come out. There we go. Just kind of squeezing the pot just a little bit, but not too much. All right. So we want to bring this branch this way a little bit and down. So one way to do that this way is to, again, tie it over here on this part of the wire, not in the center here because it'll just slide back and forth. See, if I put it right here, it's going to slide back and forth. So I'm going to put it up to here and bring this down here. So let's get some inner tube so we can protect the tree branch. And so I'm going to wrap this inner tube around the branch that the wire is going to go on. And then we're going to bring the wire down in here. So here's the back of the branch. We're going to go ahead and put this inner tube right here. And then the copper wire is going to shoot down. It's going to bend right around that tree. We want that branch to come down and around. So we're going to stick one part of this extremely long wire. I guess I grabbed more than I need. And we're going to put it on this side of this cable, right here. Right here. So we can go ahead and connect these two right here. And we can do our first twist. Cut the extra cable off, save that for later use. So there's my guy wire. It's coming down to here. So this is the point where we're going to twist as we move this down and towards us. So as I pull on it right now, I can pull it about 1 inch and start to twist. And then I can go ahead and already cut off a little bit of that extra. Right now the branch is already pulled in a little bit tighter. Now I have to be careful because I'm touching this branch too. So I might need some tube for there as well. Looks like I can pull it a little bit further. Without it breaking. There we go. We can cut off some extra. And there we have some movement on this tree. We've filled in some of the empty gap in here. I think part one might be done here. Now I think we can get a couple more twists in there. Every twist is tightening it up a little bit more. And it's not too much pressure on this branch. So from the back, this was up here, and we've brought it down to here so far. And the question is if I can make this come closer to the center to really bring it down and around. And can I bring this whole thing down this way a little bit too, straight down? The more I bring it down, the more it loosens up over here. So I know I've got a few more twists in here without any breakage. And if I were to hear just a little bit of snap, I could know I could stop and be relatively okay. So as these could get wired someday, we've moved this branch around. We got this kind of coming out and around. I could do the same with this branch right here. We could do another guy wire from here to the back over here and bring this one down. Way down to there. I wonder if that would work. I think we should try that as well. We got some inner tube. I think that leftover piece is probably long enough. So I don't do as much wiring in general these days. I have had some issues with some scarring, which is my fault for not checking trees sooner to see if there is scarring going on. So I need to get better at that. But I also try to do things a little bit more naturally. So we'll bring this one down under here. Bring this one around to get the first initial spin going here. My apologies, my camera, the battery went kaput and I didn't have an audible warning. Here's the wire, the guy wire, wrapped around with some inner tube. Pull down this way, twist this way, it's going to bring it down, bring it down. I might later add a guy wire next here to kind of bring it down this way more. So it kind of comes swooping down that way. And then this guy, we'll see how it does with this. We'll leave this on all the rest of this growing season, all winter long, and maybe even the next growing season, and keep tightening it up, especially this one, to let these kind of set in this way. If I let this go in a couple of weeks, the branches are just going to go boing. So, as I mentioned earlier, I've had some scar issues with some of the trees, and even though it's a lot of conifer trees, the scars and the gnarly look is kind of nice. It shows age and stress. I thought I would try a tree with strictly some guy wires here for a little experiment. And so I've got, again, this big thick wire on top of my pot with a wire connecting underneath. It's not the prettiest contraption anymore, but it's going to certainly go ahead and let this thing now have some new growth patterns, perhaps, based on how we twisted and contorted this trunk. So super fun, nice little project. We'll give this some water and put it back on the bench because it is a hot one. Well, there we have it. That's all we're going to do for today. Thanks for joining me. Take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you very, very soon.